They've attacked Rumble, they've attacked X, they're attacking a lot of people, and now they're coming for Elon Musk. Joe Biden saying there's a lot of misinformation on X. Also, the government are attacking him for not allowing them to use Starlink to bomb Russia. So who's gonna win? The globalist state or Elon Musk? Elon Musk? Hello there, you 6.6 million awakening wonders there in the demonetized world. Hello there, you 1.7 million followers on Rumble, thank you. And those of you that have pressed the red button to support us directly, how we appreciate you now. Well done not being governed by fear. Well done for having some principles and values and staying true. And truth, as always, is what we are discussing today. Thank the eternal Lord for that ability. Elon Musk is being attacked. Oh, why is that? Probably as he said something bad. Is it some moral or ethical reason? Because you know who's moral and ethical? It's the state, isn't it? Let's have a look at this story where Joe Biden is talking about misinformation on X and the appropriation of Starlink technology for perpetuation of a war. In short, Elon Musk did not permit Ukraine to carry out bombing using Starlink technology, literally because it's against their terms and conditions. I mean, you know some of the things you have to sign when you're like, oh, we manage cookies. Yeah, manage cookies. Allowed to bomb Crimea. Oh, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say don't bomb Crimea. So let's have a look at this story and have a look at the fundamental question. Who do you trust? Do you trust the legacy media? Do you trust the state? Do you trust Joe Biden? When they say they're looking after you, just give them a bit more power, do you trust them? What do you think of these new online bills? And let's look at how they're coming for Elon Musk. And let's work out together what will be more beneficial for the planet. A victory for the state or a victory for Elon Musk?
What about what Elon Musk has done to Twitter? Lowering guardrails against misinformation. Does that contribute to it?
I mean, he's changed its name to something more catchy. I like that little bird. Joe Biden got to have conversations like this when we know his relationship to technology and indeed reality is. It's so sort of tenuous. He's not going to be like, yeah, Elon Musk. Like Elon Musk, this sort of almost incomparable genius coming up with tunnels and spaceships and electronic cars and revivifying Twitter based on a principle that used to be quite important called free speech. What's Joe Biden going to say? A man who doesn't know how to make it out of a room that he's just entered.
Yeah, it does. Look, one of the things, as I said to you, when I thought I wasn't going to run, I was going to write a book about the changes taking place.
What kind of book is Joe Biden going to write on misinformation? He's told lies about that fire around his house. He's always banging on about corn pop. Misinformation's always been a hatred of mine. When I was in the fire with corn pop, as the flames licked up and down corn pop's body, I'd say, you better not misinform me, you son of a gun. You're a bad dude running with those chains. Then Hunter came in on his laptop, at least I think it was his laptop. He'd been working for Burisma. All on his own credit, of course. I mean, Burisma needed him. And the three of us just sat around talking about misinformation together. The end.
And most of it's directed over the years with these fundamental changes in society by changing technology. Gutenberg printing and the printing press changed the way Europeans could talk to one another, all the way to today.
Thanks for the history lesson. There was a Gutenberg press, Europeans could talk to each other different, and now it's today. This book's riveting.
Where do people get their news? They go on the internet. They go online. They go.
Yeah, that's right. So you're going to try and control that news and information to stop a dissident population rejecting a government that plainly legislates on behalf of elites. Yes.
And you have no notion whether it's true or not.
What, as opposed to the mainstream media and the legacy media where there's never any lies, never any agenda, never any biases? I know that you're a sophisticated audience that are not entirely governed by fear. What they want is a population that are completely controlled, that only have access to pre-masticated information that's been ground up in Biden's proverbial gob and spat out in front of you as dumb gruel that keeps you banalised, impotent, castrated and still, never moving, never noticing your change. Of course you should have access to a variety of information and then decide for yourself what's true. But who else is going to decide? You don't trust the mainstream media, do you? Record low trust in the mainstream media. Quite right, they're liars. Record low trust in the government. Quite right, they're liars. Record low trust in the judiciary. Liars, liars, liars. And instead of amending those lies, what do? If we just deny them access to the truth, then the lies won't seem so bad. Brilliant. In an interview with ProPublica released on Sunday, President Joe Biden touched touched upon the technological advancements and their pivotal role in shaping societal discourse and information sharing, although that wasn't how he phrased it. This is a book that's worth reading on the subject. Here's what most corn pop, printing press Europeans talk different to each other. You don't know what's true on the internet. I see a cat playing the piano. Can cats play piano? I mean, who taught it and where's its thumbs?
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
While discussing Elon Musk's influence over X and its policies, President Biden seems to delve into concerns about misinformation and its prevalence on online platforms. Why are they not concerned about Mark Zuckerberg's influence over meta platforms like Facebook and Instagram? Because they agree with him. That's why, because there was correspondence between Fauci and Zuckerberg, because Zuckerberg said they censored information that was true and debatable. That's why that's not a problem.
Asked for a bunch of things to be censored that in retrospect ended up being more debatable or true.
So there you go. You don't need to spend another second debating what this is really about. Is it that they don't want you to get misinformation, or is it that they do want you to get misinformation? Is it that they want a free and fair press, or is it they want an unfair press? Remember when Joe Biden did that press correspondence dinner? They talk about, oh, it's disgusting that these journalists get executed. They don't talk about journalists that are in prison. They don't talk about Julian Assange. If they cared about freedom of information, Julian Assange will be swanning about releasing information about American war crimes now instead of banged up in Belmarsh. So you don't need to spend any more time working out what the motives of the legacy media and the government are. We already know. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the comments if you agree. While the president, this time at least, stopped short of explicitly calling for censorship, his comments could be interpreted as subtly highlighting concerns around the unregulated nature of online information, potentially opening a gateway to discussions on tighter controls and regulation of internet content. What about regulation of information in the legacy media? You don't think that the legacy media lie? You don't think the legacy media have an agenda? You don't think the legacy media compile conjecture, rumour, gossip and create narratives about that? You don't think that happens? You don't think that during the pandemic claims were made that were proven to be distrue? You don't think that they censored information about the Wuhan lab leak that increasingly seems to be utterly valid? You don't think that the mainstream media, the legacy media's primary function is to amplify the message of the state and the elites and the powerful? You don't think that? This is absolute lies, propaganda. All this really is an opportunity to control and break down potential alternative news sources, because it's inevitable that independent media leads to independent thinking, and independent thinking leads to the rejection of the corrupt state. That's what they're trying to prevent. Nothing else. You think they care about morality? You think they care about your feelings? Have a little look at history. This year, a federal judge issued a preliminary injunction stopping key Biden administration officials from urging tech firms to suppress protected speech. Despite this ruling, Joe Biden's 2024 presidential campaign plans to continue flagging so-called misinformation to social media platforms, reaching out to social media companies and working with media outlets to fact-check untruths. You can't trust the government. You can't trust the media. Can you trust the IRS? Do you know that the IRS October the 15th tax deadline, well, it's right around the corner. You know how numbers work. Well, maybe you don't. That's why you need help. So if you're scrambling, thinking about those estimated payments, oh no, what are they? Expense write-offs and messy deductions, I've got a recommendation for you. The attorneys at Tax Network USA, they've been absolute lifesavers for many, and their team has successfully saved clients over $1 billion in tax debts. So whether you're in the hole for $10,000 or staring at a $10 million debt, I hope you're not, they're ready to help you now. And hey, no judgment. Even if you haven't filed in 1 year, 5 years, or a whole decade, they're equipped to secure the best settlement for you. They don't mind. They're going to help you. They're not judging you. So before the tax clock runs out, give taxnetworkusa.com/brand a shout. That's taxnetworkusa.com/brand. Link is in the description. Now let's get back to seeing whether we trust the state and the legacy media more than good old Elon Musk. According to Politico, Biden's campaign will hire hundreds of staffers and volunteers to monitor online platforms as part of this effort. The Biden campaign plans to focus its misinformation targeting efforts on leading Republican candidates. Oh, that's interesting. Political opponents. How curious. Right from the beginning, it's already the agenda is relevant. You always have to think, who benefits? Who benefits from this? Well, we're only looking at Republicans, and you are the Democrats, and you're only looking at Republicans, and you are the Democrats. Huh. including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' COVID anti-vaccine rhetoric. The Biden campaign's admission that it will be flagging so-called misinformation in the run-up to the 2024 presidential election follows a major censorship controversy that erupted in the weeks leading up to the 2020 election. Just 3 weeks before the 2020 election, a bombshell story alleging that Joe Biden was involved in a corruption scandal was censored by big tech platforms. 51 former intelligence officials subsequently signed a letter suggesting the story was part of a Russian disinformation campaign, and the Biden campaign used this talking point to downplay the story despite the laptop being real. It's the same way they do everything. Do you remember when Joe Rogan was having the stuff around like what medications he took to deal with his private personal health matters? Like 300 doctors signed a petition, many of whom subsequently were proven to not even actually be doctors. There's a sort of a playbook of like, this is an annoying voice, what should we do? Should we just say something that would mean it would be legitimate to shut that voice down? Yeah, let's do that. The FBI also warned Facebook about a dump of Russian disinfo just before the Hunter Biden laptop story broke. 79% of Americans believe truthful coverage of Hunter Biden's laptop would have changed the outcome of the 2020 election. Wow. Nearly everyone thinks that. But it's not just misinformation that Musk is being attacked for, because that is difficult to prove. Because truth is complex. Because there's a complexity about perspective and opinion and what's true and what's not true. Because obviously we could sit here now and in the comments talk about all the ways that the legacy media have lied throughout the pandemic, throughout the war, throughout history, that that's the function of them, that they censor information that's true, that they amplify and plant information that's not true. We all know that already. I know I'm not telling you anything new. So they have to attack Musk on multiple fronts. And what is one of the other current things that they like to attack people on? Why? It's the war, of course, the humanitarian yet somehow curiously profitable war between Ukraine and Russia. Of course, Elon Musk's Starlink technology, which, I feel like it's his, and isn't he giving Ukraine like a super good deal or something? Well, anyway, he's apparently not doing enough, even though he's doing more than everyone else, and apparently he's prohibiting as many bombings as they'd like to have. So let's have a look at that, because that's another reason they're attacking him.
So I just mentioned Elon Musk, one of the tech executives in this space. He's also involved in quite a lot of other things, and there have been some reports recently about his involvement in the war in Ukraine and the way that his control of this Starlink, basically internet technology there, plays a huge role in that war. Does Elon Musk have veto power, basically, in the Ukraine conflict right now?
Well, look, no one is supposed to make foreign policy for the United States other than the United States government.
And Lockheed Martin and Raytheon to a certain extent, and possibly NATO and the people involved in the 2014 coup, and a set of interests that ultimately control us through the deep state. But I don't think Elon Musk's one. Let me just... he's not on there.
It is not up to one billionaire to go off in secret.
We need several billionaires that have been supporting us for generations now, all come together with a common goal of a unipolar world and depleting our enemies' resources while using Ukraine's legitimate grievances against a historic foe to deplete their own population and set up a BlackRock-sponsored dystopian tech superstate afterwards. And unless Elon Musk's on board with that, he can just F off.
And change our foreign policy. I think we need an investigation, both from the Department of Defense and from Congress, to look into the arrangement with Elon Musk and his company.
You need an investigation, all right, but you're going to have to prohibit where it goes, because if you actually spent some time investigating the activity of power, the machinations of power, the deals between corporate interests, I think the revelations might necessitate the dismantling of the entire military-industrial complex and the whole of the deep state.
That would give him the ability to, in effect, turn off or restrict in any way access for Ukraine or anyone else.
This is brilliant, because Elizabeth Warren is one of those sort of moral politicians, isn't she? She's one of those ones of like, I'm here helping people, but let's deal with these hardships and we need a fairer society. But literally what she's saying now is, we only want deals with tech billionaires that will follow the whims of the military-industrial complex. Unless you still believe that the role of the United States military-industrial complex is a humanitarian project, if you think that at Lockheed Martin's quarterly business dealings, when they're saying it's looking like a good few years coming up, what they mean is because we're going to help so many children in Kiev. If you think that's what's running Lockheed Martin and Raytheon, then I don't know that this is the channel for you. I'm surprised you've stayed with us this long. If you have grave doubt about even apparently principled and moral politicians like Elizabeth Warren essentially wanting to censor and control Elon Musk because he's not quick enough to bomb Russia, potentially leading to the Third World War, leading to absolute Armageddon. I mean, when Musk commented on this, he was like, oh, I was a bit dubious about it because didn't Putin publicly state that if that happens, they're going to retaliate with nuclear arms? I mean, wouldn't that... This is the news. Why are there CNN going, are you not a bit concerned that actually what you're asking Elon Musk to do is use his technology to facilitate an amplification of a conflict that will lead to a war? Did we ever vote on this? I mean, did the American population want this? Do the American population want their tax dollars spent on the Hawaii disaster, their own infrastructure, schools, legal system, education and health? Or do they want to continue to fund this war? And do you think that there's a crisis of trust in institutions like the media and like the government? Now, they can't have that conversation because that conversation leads to these conclusions. No, you can't trust the media. No, you can't trust the government. This war is not a humanitarian war. This is a money laundering operation, obviously, because that's what they do. And Elon Musk is bloody inconvenient because he's operating on a different pathway. He's on a different pathway. He's not like, okay, whatever you need. Whereas many of the other billionaires that exist within that strata are utterly compliant. So the problem with Elon Musk is not, oh, Elon, why don't you bomb Crimea when we ask? The problem with Elon Musk is that he will not obey.
In contravention of specific policies of the United States of America.
How can the news be, here's two people that don't like Elon Musk saying they don't like Elon Musk for a variety of reasons? The legacy media don't like Elon Musk because he represents a free speech platform X that will house counter narratives to the mainstream media who are losing ground radically and rapidly and necessarily. That's why Joe Biden is there saying, oh, we need to shut down misinformation because people trust online platforms more than they trust legacy media, quite rightly, in my opinion. And Elizabeth Warren recognises that in Elon Musk they have a person that's not been corralled into the mentality of neoliberalist bullshit. So you can't just say that's the news. Hello, here's the news. Now some people who don't like Elon Musk saying they don't like Elon Musk. Firstly, a guy that went to school with Elon Musk. What do you think? Well, I never liked Elon Musk at school. He spilled a slushy over my legs, that son of a bitch, and now he won't bomb Crimea. Over here now is another person with a grudge against Elon Musk. I invented that car, and then Elon Musk got all the money. Anyone else got a grudge against Elon Musk? Here's the weather, presented to you by someone who doesn't like Elon Musk. It's going to be raining all over Elon Musk today, at least I fucking hope so. We're going to have to leave it here now for obvious reasons. If you want to see the video in its entirety, click the link below and follow us there. You can see the whole rest of it. It's worth watching because it's really funny. If you're able to, when you get there, press the red button and support us directly. It's the only way we can be sure of continuing is through your direct support. It's more important to us now than it ever has been. This movement is stepping up. This situation is escalating. Even recent events around me are irrelevant compared to the scale of this, the observable scale of this situation. We need you. Click the link. Stay free.